The Curse of Hollow Lake. Nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia lies the small town of Pine Hollow, a place steeped in haunting beauty and dark legends. About 3 miles outside town, hidden in a dense forest, is Hollow Lake, a serene yet sinister body of water surrounded by jagged cliffs and whispering pines. Locals call it cursed, claiming the lake is home to malevolent spirits. They tell tales of a young couple drowned there decades ago, their restless souls bound to the water. But in a modern world, who believes such ghost stories? I'm Sean Rogers, and I'm here to share a terrifying experience that changed my life forever. It happened last summer when my friends, Jake, Ryan, and Caleb, and I decided to ignore the warnings and visit Hollow Lake for a day of fun. We were young, full of energy, and convinced that ghost stories were just small-town gossip to scare off tourists. How wrong we were. The day at Hollow Lake, it was a sunny Sunday morning when we piled into my beat-up Jeep Wrangler, ready for a day of adventure. We packed a football, some burgers and hot dogs from the local diner, and a cooler full of soda and beer. Singing along to the radio, we drove out to the lake, arriving around 9:45 a.m. The scene was breathtaking. Mist hung over the water. The cliffs loomed like silent sentinels, and scattered clouds reflected on the lake's surface. It was paradise. "Man, this place is gorgeous," Caleb said, stepping out of the Jeep. "Why do people call it cursed? Looks like a postcard to me." I nodded, grinning. "Yeah, just old folks trying to keep the best spots to themselves." But Jake wasn't so sure. His eyes scanned the empty shore. "It's weird, though. A lake this big, and not a single bird or person around. It's lifeless." We laughed it off. "What, you scared the wildlife herd you were coming?" Ryan teased. Jake shrugged, but I could tell he was uneasy. We spread a blanket under a gnarled oak tree and started grilling. After a while, Ryan said, "I'm gonna wash up by the lake." He walked to the water's edge and dipped his hands in. Suddenly, he froze. "Guys, did you hear that?" "Hear what?" I asked. It sounded like bells or something, like a woman's anklet jingling. He looked around, but the shore was empty. "Must have been the wind," he muttered, brushing it off. We chuckled and went back to eating, but the mood shifted when we all saw it. A tall, thin figure darting through the trees, moving so fast it was a blur. We froze, our eyes locked on the spot where it vanished. "What the hell was that?" Caleb whispered. "Probably just a deer," I said. But my voice shook. The forest was silent. No birds, no rustling leaves, just an oppressive stillness. Then we heard it. A woman's voice, desperate and echoing, calling, "Daniel! Daniel!" The sound seemed to come from the center of the lake, rippling through the air. We jumped to our feet, hearts pounding. "That's coming from the water," Jake said, his face pale. We peered at the lake, and what we saw chilled us to the bone. 2 figures, a man and a woman in old-fashioned clothes, stood at the water's edge, screaming, "Help! Help!" Before we could move, they leaped into the lake and vanished beneath the surface. "That's it," I said, my voice trembling. "We're out of here." We grabbed our stuff and ran to the Jeep, only to find all 4 tires slashed. Panic set in. The jingling sound returned, louder, closer, like someone was running toward us. We didn't wait to find out who or what it was. We bolted, running 3 miles back to town, breathless and terrified, helping each other stumble through the forest. It felt like something was chasing us, but we never looked back. The aftermath. We thought we'd escaped, but the nightmare was just beginning. Jake was so shaken he left Pine Hollow for good, cutting all contact with us. Ryan fell ill, plagued by fever and stomach issues for weeks. His parents took him to a hospital in Charleston, where he spent 2 weeks recovering. Caleb and I visited him when he got home, and what he told us made our blood run cold. Every night, I see them in my dreams, Ryan said, his eyes hollow. That couple from the lake. And when I'm alone, I see something else. A black shadow, endless, like a storm cloud. No face, no limbs, just long, writhing hair and glowing red eyes. It's so terrifying. I can't control myself. I wet myself every time it appears. Caleb tried to lighten the mood. Come on, man, you're sick. Don't scare us with this stuff. But Ryan's tears were real. I'm not joking. This thing is real, and it's why I'm like this. We didn't want to believe him, but his words haunted us. Caleb and I had the same dreams of the couple, but we'd never seen the shadow Ryan described. We chalked it up to his illness and trauma, hoping things would get better. They didn't. Ryan's decline. Ryan's condition worsened. His skin began to rot, forming strange, oozing sores. His behavior grew erratic. He stopped eating, refused water, and screamed at the sight of it. His parents were frantic. They called us over, desperate for answers. When we saw Ryan, we barely recognized him. In just 2 weeks, he'd become a shell of himself, muttering incoherently, his body reeking of decay. His parents explained, "He's lost his mind. He won't eat or drink. Water terrifies him. He screams like it's poison." We took him to a psychiatrist, but the meds don't work. His skin, it's like it's dissolving. And the smell. They broke down, sobbing. Ryan would point at empty corners, trembling, his face drenched in sweat. "He's trying to tell us something," his father said, "but he can't speak." "What's happening to our son?" Guilt gnawed at me. I hadn't told them about the lake, afraid they'd think we were crazy. But seeing Ryan's state, I couldn't stay silent. I confessed everything. The lake, the figures, the slashed tires, the dreams. I told them about Ryan's shadow, too. His parents were stunned, their faces a mix of fear and disbelief. "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" his father demanded, tears in his eyes. "If you had, maybe he wouldn't be like this." The paranormal investigation, Ryan's father knew someone who could help. Ethan Reed, a paranormal investigator from Charleston. Ethan arrived that afternoon with his team, his friend Ben, and a psychic medium named Siddharth, who could connect with spirits. They observed Ryan, who lay on the floor, pounding his fist until his knuckles bled. When his father tried to stop him, Ryan shoved him across the room with unnatural strength. I offered Ryan a water bottle, but Siddharth's reaction stopped me cold. His face paled, as if the bottle was a threat. He exchanged glances with Ethan and Ben, communicating silently. Without explanation, they left the room and we followed. Ethan drove us a mile out of town to a quiet clearing. "Is it safe here?" he asked Siddharth. Siddharth closed his eyes, pacing, then nodded. "We can talk." Ethan turned to us. "Something's attached to Ryan. A powerful, malevolent energy. It possesses him, tormenting him to isolate him from everyone. It's tied to water, isn't it?" I nodded, recounting the lake incident. Ryan's father was furious. "You should have told us. My son's dying because of you." Ethan calmed him. "We'll do everything to save Ryan." "Siddharth, what's this entity?" Siddharth frowned. "It's a water demon, incredibly strong. It's bound to the lake, and Ryan touched its water. It's inside him now, rotting him from within. We need someone who can handle this, someone stronger than us." The Ouija board, Ethan decided to contact the spirit of Daniel, the man from the lake, using a Ouija board. In the clearing, we formed a circle, holding hands as Ethan warned us not to break it, no matter what. As he called Daniel's spirit, a fierce wind whipped up, swirling dust and leaves into towering funnels. Then, the planchette moved. "Are you Daniel, who haunts Hollow Lake?" Ethan asked. The planchette slid to, "Yes. Is another entity with you?" No. Did you possess Ryan? No, Ethan pressed. Then who did? We saw you and a woman at the lake. The planchette confirmed the woman was Daniel's lover, but neither had possessed Ryan. They'd only tried to scare us away to protect us from a water demon that inhabits the lake, a malevolent force that kills anything that touches its water. Ryan had washed his hands in the lake, allowing the demon to enter him. It would not leave until he was dead. The tragic end as we planned our next move, Ryan's mother called, hysterical. We raced back to find a crowd outside their house. Inside, Ryan's room was flooded with murky, briny water, like the lakes. Ryan hung from the ceiling fan, dressed in a suit, tie, and polished shoes, as if ready for a journey. His mother sobbed on the floor, the door's lock broken from the outside. The police were baffled. Ryan's autopsy revealed he'd drowned, his lungs filled with lake water, yet his clothes were dry, and the room's door had been locked from the inside. How had he drowned? Who hung him? The window's iron bars ruled out an intruder. His death was a mystery. The lesson that day cost us 2 friends. Jake vanished, and Ryan suffered a horrific fate. We learned never to ignore warnings about cursed places. The water demon was smarter, faster, and more ruthless than we could have imagined. It had sensed our plan to save Ryan and ended him before we could act. Hollow Lake remains a forbidden place in Pine Hollow. The locals' tales weren't just stories, they were warnings. If you visit a place with a dark history, research it first. Respect the warnings of those who came before. Some forces are beyond our understanding, and they don't forgive ignorance.